Hi, it's Earth Computer, and today I want to show you how to choose the enchantments you get from an enchanting table. So there are 3 stages to this process, but to start with, there's a bunch of things you have to do in order to just prepare for it. So there's a bunch of things you can't do throughout this entire process. I'll explain later why. So you can't, in order of what I would expect people to make mistakes. Most likely thing is you can't collect any XP during the whole process. So that's one thing. You can't kill any mobs, but you can't collect XP in any way, so let alone killing mobs. So you can't, for example, you can't take items out of a furnace, but you can't kill any mobs, so you have to get all of your XP beforehand. You can't drop any items out of your inventory by pressing Q or by opening your inventory and then clicking on the outside. You can't sprint. So what I've done is I have unbound my sprint key. I recommend you do that as well, so you don't accidentally go around sprinting and ruining the entire process. You can't eat. Since you can't sprint, not being able to eat is probably not going to be a problem, but just don't take food with you just in case you're tempted. You can't repair any items in an anvil throughout this entire process. You can't use any tools with unbreaking or break any tools at all. Like that includes breaking blocks, I don't know, shaving sheep, whatever you're tempted to do. Don't do it. And you can't enchant any items other than when you're supposed to. So you can't just willy-nilly enchant a pickaxe in the middle of it. And there are more things you can't do actually as well. So basically, try not to do anything other than the stuff you have to in case you break the process. So stuff you'll need to do this process. Obviously, you'll need the items that you want to enchant. So for this example, I'm going to enchant 3 diamond swords. And so the number of things you want to enchant is important. So I'm enchanting 3 things. And you will need 2 more than that number of dummy items that you don't really care about and you're going to throw away afterwards. So, and these need to be enchantable. So I've got here 5 stone swords, which is 2 more than the 3 in here. So 5 of them. And you will need at least 7 torches. You will need a lot of a throwaway item. I'm using stone here as an example. You will need... There's a formula to calculate the amount of XP you will need beforehand. You will need to get all the XP beforehand, remember. You can't collect any during the process. So the levels of XP you need is 29 plus 4 times the number of items you want to enchant. So the number of items I want to enchant is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 29 is 41. So that's how I calculated the number of XP levels I need. And you also need... So I need 14 lapis. So the way you calculate that is 2 plus 4 times items. So I needed 3 items. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So I've got 14 lapis lazuli here. And so that's all the stuff I need for the enchanting process. It's probably helpful to have here a bin, though, garbage can, whatever you want to call it, so that I can throw away items as I don't need them, so they don't end up back in my inventory, especially if you're enchanting a much large amount of items. And once you've prepared all that, you also need a full enchantment setup, but once you've prepared all that, then you're ready to move on to step 1. Okay, so step 1. So the first thing you do is literally enchant a dummy item. and then throw it straight in the garbage. And the second thing is, the goal is to obtain 2 consecutive enchantment seeds. So to do this, we perform step 2 twice. So step 2 obtains an enchantment seed. So there's a reason I'm in windowed mode, because I've got an enchantment cracker tool. Let's open it up. The link for this in the description. But I'm just going to open the back version now, the Windows version. So I'm going to move it over here, Minecraft over here. Let's leave this over here for now. So the first thing you do is you take out another dummy item and put it in the enchantment table without enchanting it. And you take a note of the number of bookshelves that are currently exposed to the enchanting table, so that's 15. And the number of levels on the right over here in each slot. So in slot 1 there's 9 levels, so let's put that over here. In slot 2 there's 7 levels, so let's put that over here. And in slot 3 there's 30 levels, so let's put that over here. And what you do is you press the add info button after you've done that, and it's going to search through all 4,294,967,296 different possible enchanting seeds, and that's going to take a while. So I guess while it's doing that, we can talk about nothing really. I guess we can maybe start preparing for the next one. So let's place a torch there. So now there's a bookshelf obscured. So we have 14 bookshelves exposed. If you put a sword in here, this gives us some new information now. So 5, 10, and 28 are the levels we get. And we have to wait until this is finished before we can actually insert that information. 5, 10, 28. Normally takes about 20 to 30 seconds, but I guess because I'm recording at the moment and yeah, my laptop's really struggling. I'm on a laptop, by the way. It might be taking a bit longer. But I have been able to do this, faster. So we have searched all 2 to the 32 possible seeds. There are 11.8, I guess, million possible seeds with the previous combination down over here. We can now insert the new information with 14 bookshelves, 5 in slot 1, 10 in slot 2, 28 in slot 3, and add info. Takes a lot quicker that time. And then we go for 13 bookshelves, 13, 4, 5, 26. Now there's only 641 combinations, so it's going down exponentially. It doesn't take that long to get down to just one possibility. So now we have 12. And we have 6, 9, 24, 25 combinations. When you place a torch on the edge like this, it only blocks 1 bookshelf, but if you place it in the corner, it blocks 3, so just be wary of that. So now we've placed one in the corner, it's down to 9. And we have 4, 8, 18. and there's 18 possible things left. Let's block another corner, and we're down to 6. 6 and 3, 3, 12. That only got rid of 2 possibilities. Let's go down to 3, I guess. So 3 gives us 3, 2, and 6. Okay. And if we have 0, then we can't actually insert that information. So we can't do 0. I guess we'll have to maybe go for 1. See if that works. No, we have to go for 2. There we go. So we have 2 bookshelves. It gives us 3, 2, and 4. And we have our XP seed. It is 9850. So what we do with this, we copy it over to the next thing. So 9850, I think it was. 9850 FA86. FA86. So that's the first one. So we've done step 2 once now. Next thing we do is we enchant this item now. And we put it in the bin. Get out another dummy item. And repeat step 2 again to get the second XP seed that we need. And so we press this reset cracker button here. Then we go back to 15 bookshelves. And we get 3, 12, 30. And talk amongst yourselves for a minute, I guess. Yeah, so this takes a long time, but it is worth it if you have like loads of items to enchant, because you only have to do this at the very beginning. Like maybe not if you only have 3 diamond swords on. Probably is worth it for 3 diamond swords, but you know, it saves more time the more items you have. The other day I tested it with 45 diamond swords, and I did something like 86.8 seconds per diamond sword enchantment, and it wasn't like it was a pretty common enchantment either. It was it's what we're going to do today. Actually, we're going to have looting 3, sharpness 4, and unbreaking 3 on every single diamond sword. Not really much I can do to be entertaining here, I guess. There we go. So now we can reduce by 1. We get 14 bookshelves now. 7, 12, 28. Okay. And now we have 13, 5, 8, 26. Um, 12, 2, 11, 4. Nine, 3, 7, 18. Six, 2, 6, 12. 3, 1, 3, 7. Okay, we've got the second one. It is F55A, F55A, EC12, EC12. And the final step of step 1, oh, by the way, you don't enchant this sword this time, you keep it there, and you can knock out these torches again, like that. And final step of step 1 and step 2 is to press calculate here, and this actually calculates our player seed this time, so we can now calculate all past, present and future enchantment seeds, and this is where it gets exciting. This is where we can start changing the enchantments, and that's going to be step 3. Okay, it's time for step 3. So first thing we want to do, we want to go over to the enchantment cracker again, go over to this third tab called manipulate, and type in the item that you want. So the item that we want to enchant is diamond sword. Note that we have the internal game ID, not the, don't just literally type out diamond sword, you want to type it in like this. And then we want to type in some enchantments that we want on it. So we want sharpness 4. We have to type in the level as well, not just the enchantment, and type in space like this. Then you click the wanted button, it appears in the wanted list. And we may also want unbreaking 3, like that. And then looting 3 we're going to have. So what this will do is it will try to find an enchantment seed for us, which will give us all of these 3 enchantments on the same sword. It can also filter it out for enchantments that we don't want. For example, say we didn't want knockback 2, back 2. We type in knockback 2 here, and we press not wanted. So now even if the sword contains all of these 3 things, if it contains knockback 2 as well, it won't give us that seed. We can add multiple items to this not wanted list as well. Knockback 1, for example. So now if we have knockback 2 or knockback 1, so basically any knockback, it wouldn't allow it. So even if all of those 3 were on there. But we don't really care about knockback, so knockback 2, we type that in and we press don't care, and it gets taken off these lists. So knockback 1, don't care, and so now we will only be looking for a sword with all of these things on. Next thing you do is press the calculate button. So it's telling us to throw 52 items. So that's the first thing we're going to do. This here means 0 stacks plus 52 items left over. That's useful for larger numbers. So I'm going to go into my inventory. I'm going to create a stack of 52 stone. This is what all this stone is for, by the way. And I'm going to take my 52 stone and I'm going to throw it out like this. Individually, don't throw it out all at once. Like that. So now I've thrown out 52 stone. And now what you do is you take a dummy, actually I don't have one, dummy item, enchant it, and then you take out a diamond sword, enchant that with the number of bookshelves it says, and the number of slots, and the slot number it says. It wants us to have 15 bookshelves as opposed to the enchantment table, which we do, and it wants us to enchant from slot 3, which is the bottom one. So we're going to do that. And we get sharpness 4, looting 3, unbreaking 3, which is exactly what we wanted. Let's put that back into this chest, put this into the bin, and we can repeat the process. So it doesn't automatically know that we've done this and manipulated the state of the enchantment seed as a side effect of doing it. it assumes that we haven't done this, and we could go and change the enchantments if we didn't like the number of throws and regenerate, and it would assume to have done nothing. So to tell it that we have done something here, we press done, and then we can press calculate again, and now it's saying throw 71 items, which is 1 stack and 7 left over. So let's do the 7 left over first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we need to throw out a whole stack. This could be much faster with the clicking script, obviously, but I don't have a clicking script at the moment, and I'm very slow at stand clicking. I'm very sorry about that. But I've just thrown out 71 items quite precisely, and I already have one of these again, so I'm going to be enchanting a dummy, like that, and then I'm going to be enchanting another diamond sword, and I should, in theory, get looting 3, if I go in bookshelf 15, slot 3, I should, in theory, be getting looting 3, unbreaking 3, and sharpness 4 on this sword, which I did, which is great. Let's do this one more time. So we want this time to press done, calculate, throw out 26 items. It can actually be a lot more than this. It's being quite lucky this time, but it doesn't go that high really. I mean, it's still worth it. 26 items would be about like that. Okay. And then we take out a dummy item like that. Do a dummy enchantment. And then we take out diamond sword. You should get good enchantments again. Sharpness for unbreaking 3 and looting 3. There you go. 3 of those swords. No diamond swords wasted. So there you go. You can repeat this as many times as you like. You could repeat it for 100 swords if you like. As I said earlier in the video, I have already done it with 45 and got it quite consistently. Well, 100% consistently, in fact. But one thing to note is that occasionally it will say throw 0 items, and that pretty much means what it says in the tin. So you're like, oh, let's throw out some items. How many items do I have to throw out? 0. Oh, okay. Let's go for the dummy enchant then. So you take out the dummy enchant, do the dummy enchant, and then you take a diamond sword and enchant it. So pretty much a normal process there. But if it says, sometimes it says no dummy needed, or there's something along those lines that says no dummy, in which case you basically skip out the dummy enchant step. So you have, oh, no items needed to be thrown. Oh, no dummy enchantment needs to be done. You go straight over here and do your enchantment with the number of bookshelves and slots, like that. Sometimes it doesn't quite show 15 bookshelves, it might show 14. Doesn't really matter on the whole if you go for 15 anyway. It should, like, all it would do is be a little bit more expensive and maybe give you like an extra enchantment. But if it does matter more if you, for example, not enchanting, because this works for any item, remember, if you're enchanting books and not swords, books tend to be quite specific about, they tend to be quite picky about the number of bookshelves they want. They're not very rare really, but they're just, like, I mean, it doesn't take that long, but they're picky about the exact number of bookshelves they want. So that's about it if you're not interested in the technical side of how it works. So I guess you could stop the video there. Happy enchantment cracking, I guess. But if you are interested, then stay tuned. I will be doing a technical explanation of all of this. The first thing to note is that random number generators, or RNGs, are not truly random. In fact, computers are, with current technology, really incapable of generating random numbers quickly. So What Minecraft does is it simply uses Java's built-in random number generator. Java has one, and it's a linear congruential pseudo-random number generator, or PRNG, or LCG. It has, so linear congruential pseudo-random number generators, they have a seed, an internal state called a seed. Each time a number needs to be generated, it is calculated from the seed. More on that later. The seed is then updated by multiplying by the multiplier, adding the addend, then modulo the modulus. In Java, the multiplier is the hexadecimal number 5DEECE66D. The addend is the hexadecimal number B, or the decimal number 11. And the modulus is 2 to the 48, meaning the seed is 48 bits. The way to get the number from the seed depends on what kind of random number you're generating, but for enchantment seeds, you simply take the high 32 bits of the seed. To generate a random number, first you update the seed, then convert the new seed to the random number. Notice we can guess a lot of the seed from just one random number. One key fact about these RNGs is that initializing two instances with the same seed gives the same sequence as random numbers. When you place an item into the enchanting table, for example, the server initializes an RNG based on the player's current enchantment seed. The server uses this RNG along with some other inputs, such as the number of bookshelves and which item was inserted, to generate the levels you see on the right. The server then goes on to generate the enchantments and then the clues. A new enchantment seed is generated every time the player enchants an item. In part 2, we create a list of the possible enchantment seeds, which starts off as being, all 2 to the 32 of them. Each time we input data into the cracker, we filter through all the possible seeds, removing all seeds rendered impossible by the new information. We keep inputting data until there is only one possibility left. However, the enchantment seeds themselves are not random. They are generated by another RNG, which is used for generating a range of random numbers for that specific player. It's that player's RNG. This RNG is used by a lot of other things. We have to make sure that none of these things happen, which is why you have to limit your actions so much, as described at the very start of the video. If we can crack the seed of this RNG, then we can predict all future enchantment seeds. If we have two consecutive enchantment seeds, which were generated by two consecutive calls to the random function, then, as displayed earlier, the high 32 bits of the player's seed are the second enchantment seed. This leaves only 16 bits of the player's seed left to be guessed. To do this, we first try to guess this first set of question marks. For every possibility, we try multiplying by the multiplier, adding the addend and modulo the modulus to get the next seed. Then we test if the high 32 bits of this new seed match the second generated number. In part 1, we started by immediately doing a dummy enchantment. This is to generate enchantment seed 1. We then used part 2 to find out what the generated value was. We then do another enchantment to generate enchantment seed 2, then use part 2 to find out what the generated value was. Two consecutive values, cracked player seed. Now we can theoretically calculate what the next enchantment seed will be before it has actually been generated, and therefore we can predict the enchantments we would get. If we like those enchantments, then great, we enchant an item to generate that enchantment seed and make it our current one. But what if we don't like those enchantments? Can we do something about that? The answer is yes. Remember that the player RNG used to generate the enchantment seeds is used for a lot of other things. So we can force the RNG to use the current player seed to generate random numbers for something else, changing its internal state and creating a new potential enchantment seed. Throwing out an item causes the player RNG to generate 4 random numbers for the item's exact velocity. Every time we throw out an item, the next potential enchantment seed changes. The program calculates exactly how many items you need to throw out to get the perfect enchantment.